A blank page, a blinking cursor, a writer gripping a coffee mug. Sanderson calls plot a sequence of promises, not a formula, a contract. Every sentence you write shakes hands with the reader. You offer them something, they lean in. You're saying, this matters. But a promise without delivery is just a lie. Readers know. They've felt the sting of a chewed-up plot, a thread snipped short, a question left to rot. The contract breaks. They close the book. So how do you build a promise you can actually keep? Sanderson dissects the mechanics. 3 layers. The first one hits you in the gut before you even know it's there. A promise isn't a goal. It's a hook, a dangling car key, a cryptic note, a dead body on the rug. You don't explain the corpse. You show the blood spreading across the hardwood. The reader goes, I need to know who that is. You just promised them an answer. Now you owe them. Every chapter, every scene, every beat. It's a payment on that debt. Miss a payment and the reader walks. Double down and they're yours. But here's the razor edge. A promise can be too big. A world-ending threat in chapter 1 leaves nowhere to go. The reader feels the weight and knows you can't carry it. They set the book down. So Sanderson teaches you to make small promises. Bite size, a locked door, a whispered name, a single, unanswered question that nags like a splinter under the skin. Then you open the door. You reveal the name, and the splinter becomes a knife. What happens when the reader realizes you've been lying to them the whole time? A whiteboard in a lecture hall. Sanderson draws 3 boxes. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. He circles the middle box. That's where most writers get stuck. It's a lie. Not because it's wrong, but because it teaches you to think in chunks instead of momentum. A chunk is a cage. Sanderson points at the board. The middle act isn't a swamp to wade through. It's a staircase. Each step raises the stakes. Each step tightens the consequence. You don't fill time, you escalate. He replaces the 3 boxes with a single line. A rising line. Not a curve, not a zigzag. A straight shot of pressure. Every scene pushes the protagonist closer to a decision they can't avoid. The structure isn't a shape. It's a force. So why do textbooks sell the 3-act lie? Because it's easy to teach. Easy to diagram. But readers don't feel diagrams. They feel weight. A promise made in chapter 1 must land like a hammer in chapter 10. Not a tap, a hammer. Sanderson leans back. The whiteboard is empty now. One question hangs in the air. If the 3-act structure is a lie, what shape does a real story take? A couch in Springfield. Homer chokes Bart. A quick jab with a laugh track. It's a promise. Second scene. The boss hands a pink slip. Progress. The tension tightens like a screw. Third scene. Homer drives into a tree. Payoff. The audience explodes. Sanderson calls it the Promise-Progress-Payoff engine. Every scene occupies 1 slot. Sets a stake. Drives it deeper. Collects. He pulls up Futurama. Fry enters a tube. Promise. The future. He wakes up. Progress. The world is weird. He meets Leela. Payoff. The joke lands. No scene sits still. No filler. If a scene doesn't set, advance, or deliver, kill it. But here's the rhythm trap. Promise too quick. Audience cold. Too slow. Audience walks. There's a stopwatch in every viewer's head. You feel it when it's off. A scene dragging. A punchline hanging dead. So how do you calibrate that inner clock? How does a writer know when a promise needs more air? A whiteboard. Sanderson draws a lazy S. The curve rises slowly, then steepens, then flattens at the top before dropping into the payoff. Tension has a shape. Family Guy ignores the curve. Jokes pile on jokes without a breath. The S becomes a jagged spike. Every punchline lands before the last one fades. Viewers feel exhausted. The Simpsons respects the S8 joke sets up, then a beat of story, then the punchline lands with space. Engineered chaos. Sanderson points to the flat top. That plateau is the middle of the story. The audience needs to rest before the final drop. Without that plateau, tension burns out. Family Guy burns out fast. The Simpsons stretches the plateau with quiet scenes. A character walks into a room. Another character says a line. The joke waits. The audience leans forward. Then the punchline hits. Satisfaction. But the S-curve isn't just for comedy. Horror uses it. Action uses it. Every genre rides the same slope. Sanderson flips the whiteboard. He draws a straight line. A flat line. No tension. No payoff. The audience walks. Now the question. Can you map your own story onto the S? Or does it spike and crash? The next chapter shows the wreckage. Fry stares at a fossilized dog. 22 minutes of setup. One punchline. No joke. Sanderson calls this the promise of payoff. The audience expects a laugh. They get a gut punch instead. That is the architecture of surprise. Sanderson builds a promise box. He fills it with expectations. Then he opens the wrong lid. Jurassic Bark sets up a reunion. Fry finds his dog. The fossil is intact. The audience waits for the happy ending. Sanderson says the twist must be inevitable in hindsight. The fossil is not a dog. It is a time capsule. Seymour waited 12 years. Fry never came back. The twist lands because the setup was honest. The audience feels betrayed by their own assumptions. Sanderson calls this the broken contract. The writer signs a deal with the viewer. The deal says, setup equals payoff. A twist breaks the deal. But the break must feel fair. Homer's enemy does the same thing. Frank Grimes is a normal man. He works hard. He follows rules. Homer is a disaster. He succeeds anyway. The audience expects Frank to win. He loses. He dies. The twist is not a joke. It is a structural violation. Sanderson says the best twists are not surprises. They are revelations. The audience realizes they were looking at the wrong clue. Fry's dog was never the point. The point was the loyalty Fry never saw. The twist is a mirror. It reflects the story back at the audience. They see the shape they missed. Sanderson draws a new curve. The S bends backward. The twist is the fold. The audience feels the fold in their chest. They do not laugh. They sit in silence. That silence is the payoff. What happens when the audience stops trusting